ATSDR stands for the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry. We're actually part of CDC based in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, people should be concerned about elemental mercury because most people just don't realize how dangerous it can be and what serious health effects it can have if you're exposed to it. The more mercury vapor you're exposed to, the more likely you are to have a health effect. Different people are more susceptible to mercury toxicity or the health effects associated with mercury exposure than other people. And the health effects are more likely to become more serious the more mercury vapor you're exposed to, the higher concentration of mercury vapor you're exposed to in air. And I think one thing that is important to remember is that mercury, elemental mercury, is toxic primarily through inhalation exposure. When people breathe in mercury vapors, we start seeing different health effects at different levels. There are basically two different types of exposure that we see with mercury. One is an acute short-term exposure, and the health effects that we see in acute short-term exposures, if you're exposed to a high enough level, are headaches, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. You may have trouble breathing, you may have chest pains, you may have inflammation of your mouth and your respiratory tract. If you're exposed to mercury chronically for a long period of time, then we start seeing much more serious health effects. These health effects would be damage to the central nervous system, fatigue, irritability, being very emotional, memory loss, shyness, blushing, tingling or tremors in your hands, tingling and shooting pains in your feet, anorexia. You may have gingivitis, you may have some serious respiratory problems. There are just a lot of really serious health problems associated with chronic exposure. Some people can have symptoms of mercury poisoning at much lower exposures than other people. There's just a very wide variability among people about how they will respond and what kind of symptoms they will have at what different levels.